In this series of programs, we're going to be going through extrication. We're going to be talking about the way cars are built, the way they're put together, the way we take them apart. We're going to look at the safety systems of the cars, what are our concerns, what are hazards to us, what are hazards to the patients. We're also going to go through techniques. On the techniques, we're going to be reviewing car on its tires, a car on its side, and a car upside down. So if we think about our wrecks, and all of our wrecks basically are going to be one of those three positions. What we're trying to do is we've introduced a card, a little task card. It's going to line us up with a couple of predetermined tasks, as well as going to show us a series of kind of how do we go through the different steps. Within these different steps, we're basically tying it all together. So when we do a car on its tires versus a car on its side, 95% of the techniques are going to be the same. We take a car upside down. Again, 95% of the techniques are going to be the same as car on its tires, car on its side. The goal behind all of this is in the training side of it. We want to make you quicker and more efficient. If you have to memorize one way to do things, we're going to be a lot smoother and a lot quicker. As we go through this training, our goal is to reduce our scene times. When we're talking about reducing scene times, we're looking at overall out of service time for you when you're on scene, as well as the overall health care for the patient. The quicker we get the patient out, the better their survival rate. The quicker we get you off scene, you're ready to respond to additional calls now. When we look at a lot of departments, the average out there, we're around looking at about an hour for most extrications. With this training, we're going to be down in that 10 to 15 minute mark, and that's our goal as we go forward. In this program, we're going to talk about a car upside down, so car on its roof. When we show up on scene, we're looking at the car. The weight of the car is on the roof of the car, it's on the nose of the car. Our goal is going to be to transfer the weight off the roof. So we're going to move the weight onto the nose of the car, and then we're going to use some struts, and we're going to stabilize the back end of the car. By doing that, we take the weight off the roof of the car, and that's going to allow us to take and remove our patient. Moving forward, as we come up to the car and we look at our stabilization, a couple things out there we want to be thinking about. This car itself, what's keeping the car from sliding around on the ground? It's that contact. So the more painted area I have touching the ground, the less I have at movement. If we come in here, a lot of tourists like to come in here and start throwing wedges in here. We start throwing wedges in there, those wedges are actually going to pick the car up off the ground. As I start picking the car up off the ground, I lose that surface area. We now run the risk of actually having the car shifting. So a preference is to not use those at all and just come up and start working on the car the way it is. If we're concerned about the car wanting to move or shift on us, what we can do, we can take our pickets, 4-foot long stakes, and come up here and find a secure place in front of the car, and we can go ahead, we can take and bury this into the ground. Just come in here, follow it in, and bury it to the ground. With one picket, the car can still shift. So we'll take a second picket, and we'll run a second picket in here. So now once I run 2 pickets in there, that's going to keep the car from going forward, backwards, or side to side on me. Once we've got the car stabilized here, we can move to the back end of the car. As we're moving towards the back of the car, think about the anatomy of the car. So our strong steel's in between the tires. So between the front tire and between the rear tire is where the strong parts of the car are. So when we come in to put our struts in, if we put our struts in behind the tires, we run the risk of this softer steel shifting and losing that grip. So what we're going to follow the back tire. We're going to come right down here. I'm going to look for a natural body crease, and right here is where we're going to make my purchase point for the strut to sit into. Two different options for making a purchase point. First one we can use a Halligan tool. I can try just freehand swinging it, which I'm going to probably miss. I can take a second person, we can set it and go ahead and drive it in. If we're looking to do this quick and easy with one person, instead of using our irons, other option, we come in here with the cordless drill with a unibit in it, find where I want my hole to be, and my hole's in position. Once we have our hole positioned, we're going to bring our strut into here. We're going to guard this. We're going to grab right in the hole. We want the strut perpendicular to the car. A couple different ways we've seen people over the years stabilize cars. My preference is having the strut directly connected to the car. That way I've got solid connection points. One of the other ways taught is to take a chain and create a cradle for the car to sit in. The only problem, if I create a cradle, that car can still roll within that cradle. This way here, we've got a positive connection point. So once we've got this side done, we're going to put a strut in on the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make our hole, position the strut. All right, now we've created our hole. We're going to go ahead and take our strut, put it in position. On our struts, we're going to make sure the struts are perpendicular to the car so they're a good 90 degrees to the car. Once I'm at that point, we're going to take our come along, we're going to go ahead and hook it in. When we're hooking our come along in, we're gonna utilize our J-hooks. We utilize our J-hooks, that's gonna allow us a little bit more room so we're not into the cleat of the strut. When we're hooking our hooks into the struts, try to run your hooks all up if you can. So if I have the hook facing down, it can catch something and hang up. If I have the hook up, there's nothing for it to catch. Once our hooks are in position, we'll go ahead and tension our come along. Once we get ready to tension our come along, we're going to take tension on the car. The come along is going to bring the bases together. As the bases come together, the top goes up. If I just want to stabilize the car, we're done, the car's stabilized. If we need to lift the car, the more tension I take, the further up the car goes. Now if we're in a situation where I want only one side or the other to lift, let's say I want the other side to lift but this side to stay stationary, we can take our Halligan tool. If we drive this into the ground, when I take tension, this base is going to stay positioned, it's not moving. The other side's going to suck in, that part of the car lifts. Now I'm ready for both sides to lift. I'll bring this up and out and away we go. If we're in a situation, let's say we're out in the middle of a field and this is soft ground where these guys might want to sink in. We need to spread that weight out. What do we have on the rig to spread the weight out with? Backboards. I can put a backboard underneath there that's going to spread the weight out. They can still do the exact same thing. On our hooks, we have a couple different options, a couple different theories out there. A lot of departments prefer a multi-clustered hook. This is good because it gives you options to grab different parts of the car, different things. The only issue I've seen on scene is this is the janitor's key ring. When I give you too many options, too many choices, what happens on scene? We sit there and fumble trying to decide which one to use. Instead of the big hook cluster, my preference is just a straight mini J with a link on it. So with the mini J, there's only one option. This hooks to the opening and this goes to your ratchet strap or your come along. When we talked earlier about hooking hooks up, this is going to be a hook up, so as the hook comes up, if I'm using it across the ground, it's not going to catch on anything. If we went hook down, it could potentially hook up on something and stop the movement of our vehicle. So hooks up, and we're good to go. Mini J, link, that's it, simple, easy. Following our task card, we have the Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2 job. Firefighter 2's job is stabilizing the car. So when a car has tires, they would work on stabilizing the car. Car on its roof, same thing. So if Firefighter 2 would come in, they'd put the pickets in position, they come in, put the struts in position, and take the tension. While that's happening, Firefighter 1 is going to still complete their normal tasks. They're going to come in and start on the opposite side of the car. They're going to take the windows. They're going to do the peel and peaks. The one change we've got with the car upside down, we're not going to cut the seatbelts. So if you think about it, if I've got a car upside down and I got a patient hanging by the seatbelt, I don't want to cut that seatbelt. So we're going to skip that part of it. On our cut locations themselves, we're going to cut all of our cuts to the roof level. So again, if I've got my patient hanging by the seatbelt and I cut the base of the B post, where's that seatbelt connected to? It's connected to the B post, I'm going to drop my patient. So again, we're going to make our peel and peaks, we're going to take our glass, cut locations are at the roof, we're going to make that circle. All right, Firefighter 1, we're going to come in here, we're going to break our glass, we're going to mark our cut position, start in this front corner and work in a circle. Breaking glass, doing my peel and peaks, marking cut location. Breaking the next glass, peel and peaks, marking my cut location. Once I've completed that side, we're going to come around and do the exact same thing on this side. We're going to come around, we're going to take our glass, come in here, do our peel and peaks. Remember, as we're doing our peel and peaks, we might not always get that plastic all the way off. If I can't get it all the way off, that's okay. As long as you can get a visual in there and we know where the hazard's at, we're okay. We can go ahead and mark our cut locations. Now with the car upside down, we're not cutting the A post. So our cuts, we're going to go B post, C post, C post, B post, and we're done. No cuts on the A post. With a car on its tires, we're going to take and we're lifting the dash off the car. With the car on its side, we're still going to take the dash away from the car. The change we have, when I have the car upside down, I don't have that option to take the dash away from the car. So this situation, I'm actually going to have to take the car off of the dash. When we come in our normal cars with the car on its tires, car on its side, I'll use my spreaders and I'll do my initial lift right here. with the car upside down, I have too much weight, and the A-post won't support that much weight. So the car upside down, we actually have to bring our ram in here. We're gonna put a ram on the rocker panel and a ram on the A-post. So basically, as I have that ram against both of them and I start to open that ram, we're gonna stretch the car off of the dash. If we were to come in here and cut our A-post like we normally cut it, I put that ram in there and I start trying to lift the ram, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift the car up, but I'm not actually gonna separate the two. That's why we're not cutting the A-post. Now that the car has been stabilized, it's been prepped, we're gonna start making our cuts. On our cuts, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna cut the B-post. We're gonna start off, we're gonna cut it right at the roof level. That way we're not interfering with the seatbelt mechanism or my patient. So we're gonna cut B-post, we're gonna cut C-post, we're gonna continue like we normally do, cut the other C-post, and come forward and cut the B-post. All right, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna cut our post. We're gonna start at the B-post, we're gonna cut it right at the roof level. From the B-post, we're going to swing around to the C-post. We're just working in a big circle. And again, working in circles, so B-post, C-post. We're going to swing around to the C-post and then the B-post. The goal we have by cutting the roof post is to take and relax the roof so that it gives us room between the patient and the exit path. We've cut both of our B posts and our C posts. We can see the roof still has a little bit of rigidity left in it. This is because the solidness up here of the A post, which remember we didn't cut that before because we're going to need that for later. What we're going to do to take that out, we're going to take our recip saw, right at the top of the windshield, we're going to cut about halfway through the A post. As I start that on one side, you see how it's starting to relax the roof. I'm going to go around the other side and do the same cut. Now that we've cut through the A-post right at the top of the windshield on both sides, you can see now how much more the roof is relaxed. We can come over to here, comes right down for us. All right, so on our task, we show up on scene while the roof is being cut, while the posts and the roof are being cut to relax that roof. Same time, we would be taking both fenders and both doors. We're going to take the fender so I can gain access to the door. We're going to take both doors off and get ready for taking our patient out. It's going to be a lot easier to secure the patient and keep our patient from dropping. And also going to give us good control of the patient so we can maintain a good spinal alignment as we're taking them out of the car. I'm going to pinch the fender. As I fold the tool back, it's going to create a gap for me. Now I can put the tool into that gap. Positionally, I'm trying to make sure I don't get my body between the tool and the car. As far as the tool goes, as long as I can keep the tool perpendicular to the car, we're going to have a lot of success with movement of the metal. With the fender out of the way, I've got access to my door. We're going to come into here, we're going to pinch the door, fold it out of the way to expose the hinge. I'm going to come in here with the spreaders, I'm going to break this top hinge, I'm going to come down, I'm going to break the bottom hinge. We want to start at the top and work our way down that way. As we're working, we're constantly pulling the door away from the patient. If I start in between the door hinges, the door is weaker than the two hinges and we'll end up just shredding. If I can start at one end of the hinge and work my way across, or basically we're going to work my way down, that door is going to fold out nice and easy for us. So we're going to come in with our spreader. Just going to grab about 1 inch of that metal and fold it back. As I fold it back, I've now exposed that door hinge. Super easy to work on. When I come into here, You can see where that bolt head's at. That bolt head is what reinforces the door hinge to the car. When I get ready to force this door, I'm going to work on that bolt head. That's going to be a strong part, and we're not going to fail. So come into here. We're going to open about 2 inches. I'm going to reset. I'm going to get deeper. As we're coming out, the top of the door hinge is broken. We're ready to move to the next hinge. You can see here, alignment of the tool, I've got the spreader head right here. It's spread all the way across the door evenly. That way we're not tearing any holes. Top hinge is done. We're going to drop to the bottom hinge. So again, we're going to open about 2 inches. Reset it. That hinge is broken. Now we've just got the little strap here in the center. Now the front of the door is separated from the rest of the car. We come into here. Cut our wiring harness. At that point, generally we can come in here, jiggle the door handle, and we can take the door right off. If the door doesn't come off, we'll come back here with the spreaders and take it with the spreaders. All right, door hinges are broken. The door is now free floating. I've unlocked the door. Generally, you can come in here, I can jiggle the door handle, and the door comes off for me. When the door comes off, remember we could have airbags interior on the door. So when I set it down, we're gonna go paint the pavement with the door. That way, if I have any undeployed airbags, if they fire off, we're not gonna send the door launch across our scene. Now that we've taken the fender off this side, we've taken the door off, we're gonna go around the other side and do the exact same thing again. So now we're on the opposite side. We're gonna come in here, I'm gonna pinch the fender, twist it sideways like we did the other side. We're gonna put our spreader in here, blow the fender out. Once the fender's gone, we're gonna go ahead and break the upper door hinge, break the lower door hinge. All right, keep it in line with what we do with the car on its tires, car on its side. We're doing the same thing with the car on its top. Once the fender's clear, the door's off, we're gonna cut through the upper subframe in between the strut tower and the firewall. We're gonna make our relief cut here in the A-post above this lower door hinge. It's about 2 fingers up. And again, I'm repositioning my body so I don't get my body between the tool and the car. Once we cut through the first part of that A-post, we're going to come up here and cut through the rest of it. We're going to go to this side and do the same thing. So we're going to come into here. I'm going to cut the subframe in between the strut tower and the firewall. We're going to come in here. We're going to cut the lower door hinge 2 fingers above it. So right through there. All right, on the car, we've separated the roof from the rest of the car, so we've relaxed the roof down to gain access for a patient egress. We've come into here, we've taken the door off, we've taken the fender off, we've cut through the upper subframe, we've cut through the lower A-post, so the car's ready to now ready to lift the car off of the dash. The only thing we still have in the center, we've got that center support brace that's going to hold the floor of the car to the center push pipe of the car. If we can get in there, if we have access, get in there and cut those, it's going to make the whole lift easier. So we've moved the plastic out and we've got access to it, so we're going to reach in there and cut those. Now we'll go to the other side. All right, just like we do on all the rest of our cars, we've come in here, we've taken the roof, we've taken the doors, we've taken the dash, we've taken our supports here. Inside on the center support braces, we've cut those on both sides. Now we're ready to start working on lifting the dash to free our patient who's going to be pinned in here. On our normal cars, car on its tires, we take the dash off the car. For the car on its side, we take the dash away from the car. This one here, though, car upside down, we're going to have to actually take the car up off of the dash. So in order to prep for the car, what we've done here by taking both doors, we've gained access to where our patient's at. We're going to take our ram. The ram's going to go straight up and down right into here. If I take my spreaders like we normally do and try to lift here, there's too much weight and we're going to collapse this, so we're going straight to the ram. The ram is going to sit right here on the A-post, which is still connected to the dash because we didn't cut it. That's why we did not cut it, so we can leave this all one piece. And it's going to come right up here to the rocker panel. We've taken the plastic molding off to make sure I can see where I'm pushing here. We've taken the plastic molding off of here. I know my ram's going to go straight up and down, so we're going to take here. I'm just going to pre-bend a little bite for the ram to lift to push off of. We're going to take our ram, we're going to bring our ram into here. You can see we're already starting to gain room. Again, we didn't put any cribbing into here. So I put cribbing that reduces my surface area, and I have the potential for the car to move on me. The other nice thing by not putting any cribbing in here, when I'm making this push, I'm actually going to gain a couple inches here nice and easy. As we continue to go up, our struts that we put in the back are going to start to get loose. So we're going to have one of our people is going to go ahead and just keep tension on those struts as we're going up. As we've gone up, you see how much room we've gained? Once we gain enough room, we can take our patient out. We're going to take our patient, it's going to actually come right out the back of the car. All right, we're going to do this full speed now. For a real world, we typically have one experienced person, and a person a little less experienced is what Danny's going to do for us. So we get into here, we're going to be cutting on the car. You'll notice that as we're going through this, you might ask a couple questions, or I might give a little bit of advice as we're going. Totally real world, this is how we would do it on scene. If we show up with two totally experienced people, how are everyone else ever going to get experience? That's why we're going to utilize one of each. You're out, or my side's clear.
Stabilizing car, starting window removal, and peeling peaks.
Good. We're good. I'm going to start taking fender.
While Firefighter 1 completes the peel and peaks, Firefighter 2 starts the fender removal.
Yep, cutter. Start the B. Yep.
Firefighter 1
Get that. I'll get this
is
side
starting
real
to
quick.
cut the roof posts. With the fender out of the way, Firefighter 2 takes the door next.
Yep. C post. C.
Little piece in there.
Yep. Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Flip it over and see if you can catch it.
Can I get in here like this?
Yep.
Coaching less experienced team members is normal and helps reinforce proper techniques.
Good. Ready to do this speed post? Speed pavement. And go ahead and do your V cut right here. Right where I made my finger marks at. Yep.
Firefighter 1 is making the upper subframe cut. We take both doors to make room for the backboard that we will use to support the patient.
Take the pavement. Take the recip saw. I'm going to cut through the upper A post right at the windshield. And get that center support brace.
Firefighter 1 is making the A-post cut.
That's okay. Right here. Right there. Right across the.
If you notice a shallow A-post cut, you can use a reciprocating slot to complete the cut, such as Firefighter 2 is doing.
All right, you ready for the lift? Okay, stand by.
You want me to work on this A-post?
Nope, we're good. Wait a second, let me get this ram positioned real quick. Oh, that looks good there. Coming across here. So here as you start lifting that ram, just want to keep tension on the rack on the come along. That looks good. That cuts in the right spot. Good, hang on a second. Let me make one more cut here and I'll start lifting the ram. As I open the ram up, you can tension that guy. So we got our roof structures free, A-post is cut, the center supports are cut, subframe's cut. As I get ready to lift it up, you'll just keep tension on the back end. Ready? Okay, going up. Perfect. At that point, roof will relax for us. We can take our patient. We can lean the seat back out of the way. Patient will come up and out right out the back. Done. Now you've seen how quickly we can do the extrication, let's talk about why we care about that. So we have a duty to our patients that we're responding on. The duty being to get them out quickly. The quicker we get our patients out, the better their survival rate is. From there, look at our on-scene time. The longer we're on scene means we're out of service. If we're out of service, who's handling the secondary calls that come up? We're bringing in mutual aid companies, we're bringing in other departments. Who's going to handle their calls? If we can get done quicker on scene, we're going to get the patient out and get them going, which is best for them. From there, the quicker we get done on scene, we're going to get ourselves wrapped up and back available for those next calls. So overall, for the health of the system, that's what we're shooting for.